Hey guys, welcome back to the Fool Show. Of course, I am Foolish Phil. Just wanted to give you a few of my thoughts after Michigan bows out of the college football playoff for the second year in a row. Last year it was to Georgia where they just got dominated and, Georgia was just superior, just totally superior. To this year, it was more of a dogfight against TCU, and it was a game with lots of swings back and forth and momentum. And Michigan goes down 51-45 in the end. Oh, this game had so many things to talk about, so just want to go through a few and just give you my thoughts, and then, if you have any thoughts of your own, please respond as you want to, okay? First off, the defense. Jesse Minter had been pulling the right strings all year long, and Michigan was able to get stops and such, and when they needed to, had a very good scoring defense. I know that's overplayed because Michigan played such a cupcake non-conference schedule, but they went through the Big Ten and didn't give up a ton of points to anyone through there and such, and so, Michigan's defense was good, but TCU's offense exploited some issues, and I really think at half it's 21-3. You take away the pick six because that doesn't go on the defense, so you're looking at 6. Michigan had 6. So, but Michigan, the defense had given up 14 points. That's not that bad, really, right? But the second half, suddenly Michigan started playing desperate defense, and it seemed like they only thought the only chance they had was to send blitzers, and the blitzers were coming from the secondary, and you're bringing in Rod Moore and such, and he's not quite getting home, and that leaves 2 gigantic plays, right? A missed tackle here, and there goes a touchdown. You know what? I said it to my brother. Michigan's playing Ohio State defense like they did in the second half against Michigan, where it was desperation, and you were playing, we got to get this stop, and so you're just not playing fundamental defense anymore. It's like, you're like, this is our last chance. It's like, it wasn't your last chance. I don't know why Michigan was playing so desperate. It was like a 10-point game, and they, give up, or whatever, maybe it was whatever. It was a tighter game than it was, and you're playing like all-out blitz, and you got burned. Duggan made plays to their best wide receiver over and over. He had like 130, 40 yards receiving. Obviously, he had that one long 70, 80-yarder. So I think the defense really was shot itself in the foot in the second half. I know one of those drives, I think their second touchdown in the third quarter, they just got one big play on third down. The blitz didn't get there. They beat Ron Moore again. Anytime you can get a big wide receiver especially, but anytime you get a wide receiver on a safety, that's a huge advantage for the offense. They hit the big play and then run a big play, blank touchdown. It's like the dam just burst. And it's like Michigan looked completely gassed on defense. That they couldn't do anything, right? But then Michigan's offense would just come back. It's like, it was crazy. For all the things that went bad, Michigan was still in the game. Like I said, the defense just was getting gashed. 263 rushing yards given up, 225 by air by Duggan. It just didn't need to be that desperate in the third and fourth quarters. You could have played more passive defense. So I'm going to call that out. I think Minter just kind of was overwhelmed in the second half. Like, he just seemed like they had to just go for it. I don't know if Harbaugh told them we got to be more aggressive or what, but it didn't work, and they kept doing it, and it didn't work. Now, to go along with that, on offense, where was JJ's legs in the whole first half? He never carried the ball. They were completely selling out to get Edwards, and he never kept the ball. Finally, he did on one drive where they were playing complete zone, or man-to-man, rather, and so their backs are all turned to JJ, and he ran for like 40, 50 yards, whatever it was, and then the next play he ran in for the touchdown. But why was he not keeping the ball anywhere in the first half, let alone in the third quarter? It took way too long. I don't know if he didn't look injured when he ran. I don't understand why Michigan did not incorporate his legs into the game plan. There should have been some designed runs, and I think that was a big mistake by the OCs, Minter and Sharon Moore. It's like, not Minter, but Weiss and Sharon Moore. It's like, no, man, JJ's legs are super important. You look back at the Ohio State game, and Ohio State shut down Michigan's offense till the second half. What happened on that first drive? JJ ran the ball. He got a nice, had a keeper there, faked handoff to Stokes, and he ran for 19 yards. And that kind of opened up lanes later in the game for Edwards, and obviously on the late, But the go-ahead touchdown when it went 31-20 in the second half. JJ had the touchdown on the run. It's like he had some other runs in there too. It's like I don't get why the offense did not use his legs earlier in the game. I think that was a huge mistake. Huge mistake. And it does bring to mind, I know Michigan was in the playoff last year. True. But the OCs and the DC were not in the playoff last year. And it seemed like they forgot who they were in the play calling. When you saw Michigan, the first drive, they got a first and goal at the 2, I think, and then all of a sudden they just kind of like forgot who they were, and they tried to do that fourth down play, that stupid double reverse to Loveland to throw to JJ. JJ was the only person to throw to. Where was anyone else to throw to, right? And it's like, why is Michigan doing that? And then you have, Mullings on the fumble, right? It's like, why is he ahead of Bradison, I think? I can't remember which tight end was behind him, but you're like trying to be cute. You're trying to be, you're like, oh, look at us, like we're having him in the wrong position. It's like, just be who you are. I think that's just like Michigan just got ahead of itself or was too dumb. One of the two, just like, oh, well, we've been scouted, so now let's change things up. And it didn't work. That's not your identity. You got to be who you are. And Michigan's a run team, and they got all cutesy. And the big difference there is they had field goals instead of touchdowns, right? Those 4-point plays where they got stopped for field goals instead of getting touchdowns. So I have big-time complaints about the play calling. Too aggressive on defense, too not yourself on offense. I also got to say on the coaching staff, their swaps on the last touchdown drive, well, it's like 4 or 5 minutes to go, and then they get down inside the red zone, and they're swapping players. You're wasting so much time because you know what TCU is going to do? And rightly so. They're smart. TCU is smart. They're going to have their one cornerback or defensive lineman from the far end of the field is going to go and swap and go all the way back and take as much time as possible because that's completely in the rules. I remember Michigan doing that in one of the games earlier this year. Maybe it was against Maryland, who liked to do tempo, where we would do that. I can't remember exactly which game it was, but Michigan would do that. If we had a chance to sub, we'd go one guy from that side way over, and he would come all the way across the field, and you give your defense time to rest. Well, in this case, Michigan was just burning time doing it. It was so dumb what they were doing. Ugh. But the crazy thing, right, despite all these problems, 2 pick sixes, a fumble at the goal line, Michigan was in this game. That's just crazy. Now, I just have to talk about the elephant in the room. I'm not going to blame it for the loss because when you have 3 turnovers that turn into 21 points, that's the reason you lost the game, right? Not having Blake Corum really shown its head in this game. It really did. You got in the red zone there, and I don't know why Donovan Edwards cannot be a third down type back. He can't be a short yardage back. I don't quite get why he can't be. But, they go to Mullings, and he fumbles the ball there, and it would have been nice to have Corum, but the injuries are part of the game. Then the Schoonmaker got injured, and 2, he didn't play after the first quarter. Michigan just made too many mistakes, and they couldn't overcome them either. Now, one thing I just want to say, I don't quite understand what the refs were thinking. I'm not going to blame the refs for the loss, because you know what it is? Fans will complain about it for a day or 2. It will not matter anything in the long scheme of things, but there's 2 things that really are odd in this game. Well, I'll throw out 3. On Michigan's interception by Rod Moore, they showed it. It was in the first half He gets marked. He catches the ball at like the 49 going this way towards the end zone, and the ref marked it 2 yards back. What was that? How is that not reviewed? How does the ref screw that up to begin with? How is that not checked by review and fixed? And then the first play, JJ hits Wilson for the touchdown, and then inexplicably they overturn it, and they don't call it a touchdown. They say there's clear evidence that it's not a touchdown. If you look at the play, he catches the ball and he kind of juggles it so he doesn't have full control when his knee's on the ground. As he re-secures the ball, his knee's not on the ground. His butt lands in the end zone. That's a touchdown. That doesn't matter? No. But, they go back to the halftime show and all their analysts are saying that was a bad call, shouldn't have been overturned. How does that get overturned when you have professional referees who are paid to know the rules and they don't know what the crap they're doing? That just, what is that? What is that? So, 2 on that, in that series, right? The weird spot, which, okay, fine. But I'm not going to blame it too much there because Mullings fumbles the snap, Michigan gets cute. Okay. But what's up at the end of the game? There is the terrible snap, the scramble, they throw to Donovan Edwards, throws to Loveland, and he gets targeted in the head. I see it right on the replay, live, and then they see it on replay. They call, and they say, there's targeting there. Ref, go look at this. Make sure it's targeting, right? The TV people bring in their expert. He says, by definition, that's targeting. He lowered his head, used the crown of his helmet to hit the player in the head. That's targeting. Come back and say it's not targeting. I love it when you have rules officials who are impartial, and they look at the play, and they see it one way, and you get the ref who completely calls it the other way. And it's like, what is up with that? It looks a little shady when you have these neutral people on TV who are paid to give their analysis of it and what should happen, and then that's not the way the refs call it. Do I think Michigan's going to go down and score a touchdown there with 25 seconds left from the 40-yard line? No. Probably not going to happen. But you know what? It should have been called a targeting, and it should have still been Michigan's ball. I don't understand how they can call down and say it's targeting, and the ref says it's not. I don't get that. Overall, Michigan sucked, and they shot themselves in the foot so much. They looked like they were the team that didn't know what to expect. They looked like the team who should have been there for the first time. You had false starts. You had offsides. You had just on the last possession, a false start on, I think, 3rd down, made a 3rd and 5 into a 3rd and 10. Then you had a botched snap where Ole just snaps the ball too early. It's like, what was up with this? The team just, blah. It's like, they just didn't get it done. So that's what it is. Give TCU the props. Obviously, the pick sixes were huge. JJ made terrible throws and decisions on those, especially the second one. He was looking right at that guy and threw it to Loveland. It was terrible, that throw. And Michigan was back in the game. I think it was a 3-point game right there. It's like, what are you doing? You can't throw the ball there. It just circles all back. TCU head coach said they had to stop the run and force JJ to beat them. JJ went 20 of 34 for 334 yards, something like that. 2 touchdowns, but 2 huge picks. TCU did exactly what they had to do. They stopped Michigan's run. Donovan Edwards, his stat lines looks good, 129-ish yards, but he had 54 on the first carry of the game. So those are quite inflated. If you take away that 54-yarder, there's a lot less yards per carry. So TCU got the job done. Props to them. Disappointing for Michigan that they lose, for one, and 2, they lose by playing so badly. I don't want to be that fan that says, oh, Michigan should have won this game. The refs took it. I'm not. No. TCU won the game. Props to TCU. So, just as an overall reflection on this year, I know in this moment you might be like, oh, man, Michigan, come on, what a terrible way to end the season. And don't get me wrong, I wish we would have won. I wish we were going up against Georgia or Ohio State again to see who wins the national title. But I don't want to be Debbie Downer here and oh, it's all doom and gloom. Think about this season. Michigan went 13-0, right? Won the Big Ten, beat Ohio State in Columbus, won the Big Ten title, right, again, against Purdue. So back-to-back Big Ten titles. They beat Michigan State, great. You might say, well, Michigan State wasn't that great. That doesn't usually matter. Michigan State pulls out some of those games. So beating them, great. You beat Ohio State, great. You beat Penn State, great. It was a really good year. I'm not going to try to be, oh, boo-hoo, what a terrible year. You made the playoff, man. But I really do hope Michigan can build off this, right? You got to see what happens. Again, last year, Georgia just dominated the game. Totally. Props. This year, Michigan was in the game, shot itself in the foot, made a comeback, fell short. It is what it is. So, you're coming back. You got JJ coming back. You got Edwards coming back. Most likely, who else? You might have some transfers and all that. Now, you don't know, but Michigan's looking primed to win the Big Ten again, at least be in contention next year. I know they're going to go at Penn State and at Michigan State next year. So those are going to be 2 tough games. But you know what? Michigan should be in contention for the Big Ten again. So we'll see how it goes. So I'm not going to be like, oh, what a terrible loss. The season's over. What a waste. No, man, this was a lot of fun. I mean, 13 wins. Not a losing Saturday until the December 31. So it's like, okay, man, that's cool. That's fun. I know this is a long video. As I look at my time, it's like over 16 minutes. If you made it this far, I do appreciate it. If you have comments, please put them in the box below. I know I'm not talking about everything. I'm sure there's some big plays I missed. Let me know in the box what your takeaways are from this season. You know, if you can, give me some positive you take away from the year and something that you hope the team can improve on. I don't know if that's even... let's just try to keep it positive in a way. At least put something positive in your comments. You might say, Jesse Mentor called a terrible game, or the OCs called a terrible game. Where were JJ's legs? Fine. But please put something positive in your reply for Michigan. I'm sure I'll get some haters. I always do when Michigan loses a game. That's alright. That's how sports go. Hey, thanks so much for watching. And until I see you guys next time, as always, and always, go blue.